Hello, welcome back to the 14th episode of the Two Brits, One Yank podcast. Today we are joined by a very special guest, my former college teammate, Peter Stroud. And it goes without saying, these are the two Brits as well, Solwan Joe Smith, Sam Bone.
He's doing it all for
And
us
it's
today.
Peter Stroud, of course. I must say, I knew that intro was coming, but that's my fault. I was ready to speak, but big fan of the podcast. Everyone, subscribe.
Damn, that was the coldest intro yet. That was sick.
He's a
I
paid
told
actor.
you guys.
He's a
I
paid
know what
actor.
I'm doing.
Damn, that was awesome.
I've got to say, it's a bit
My boy's
weird.
media trained.
It's a bit weird because you have a bit of an audience today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got some people behind the cameras.
Got the next.
for tomorrow, so they're going to know by this time.
Don't say last names. Don't say last names because Peter will come out first. Have to keep the guests on the low key.
This is true. This is true. I mean, I was going to beat that actually.
Yeah.
And then we also have Peter's girlfriend as well, and obviously Tops is behind the camera.
But Peter's girlfriend has a name, bro. Talia
Talia.
Delaferruto. Come on, bro.
Also
Sorry,
a player.
I don't wanna. She plays for Sampdoria. That is unbelievable, isn't it? That is unbelievable. So we've got a load of footballers in the household and Tops. So anyway, no, he's the main man. He's the main man.
The
Really.
Chippenham goalkeeper. That's what we've been telling.
Oh no, actually, he's been telling people on the tube that he's Mudrick. So
Yeah, no.
now I'm gonna put a little picture side by side, Mudrick and Tops. So
It's just a bit slower, unfortunately. You are quick, though. You are quick.
yeah. He said, I don't know about that one. If you didn't hear that, and we didn't either.
Well, yeah. I mean, Pete, we've really been. I've been saying that Pete will be our best guest so far. So, yeah, I feel
That's a lot of pressure. I was just about to say.
We started well anyway.
Yeah,
started
I know.
very well, bro.
But, the sneak guest coming up is good as well. I don't want to say any last names, but he's pretty big time. So
He is big time. He is big time. A potential international player. That's all we're gonna say.
Too cold.
Yeah.
That's a little bit of a hint as well.
Yeah.
There's two potential international players actually behind there.
You said
everyone's
it.
an international player.
Yeah.
in my opinion.
And Kenya over there.
I do have to say though, you guys are the same as you guys are in real life as in the podcast.
Facts.
Really?
So just
Yeah. It's 100% what I expect. Everyone except Connor.
But
Connor's
that's
an
why we started it though, because we
That's
said
it
we
for
just
sure.
bounce off each other so well.
Yeah.
Connor's an actor.
I have to clean up my act a little bit.
He
Yeah.
drinks more coffees off camera than you'd all know.
Facts.
Yeah.
If I hear this trip one more time, oh, Connor, can we stop off and get a coffee? I think I'm going to lose my mind.
Brother was having a go at me yesterday because I asked for paracetamol when he Tops. He said, I gotta get the paracetamol. I said, brother, yeah, of course. I live in your house. Where else am I gonna get the paracetamol?
Listen, I was trying to get us out the door. I will say you're right on that.
And Connor's actually a bit angry at me because I'm the messiest housemate, so to speak. He's been calling me. I've been down with the pool, been in the gym. He's like, come and clean up your clothes. Come clean up your clothes. We've got guests. I'm saying, well, it's not my house. I'm a guest too. But yeah, Connor's not been happy with that.
Hey, you live here now. They're just guests.
It's my brother.
Don't worry. But yeah, I have to say, this is the last night of the trip. This has been probably the most fun 10 days I've ever
It's
had.
been
right?
insane, man.
It's been so much fun. We'll definitely need to do a recap once I
Yeah.
get back to England about the whole trip.
But brother,
Fans
shout out
want
the
to
vlog.
recap for
Sorry?
sure.
Shout out the vlog.
Yeah, so my boy, let me just say,
We're cooking.
He
Let's
has
just say
been
we're
cooking.
cooking.
every time something cool will happen, he'll get on film. Oh, I cooked, baby. I cooked.
Trust me, baby, I've been cooking. So stay tuned for the vlog that's coming out
Yeah.
in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, so I guess without further ado, Peter, we start every pod the same. Our last pod was a yoga teacher, but she did have a first footballing memory as well. So what was your first footballing memory?
I knew this question was coming.
He's prepped.
Yeah, I prepped a little bit. No, I think my first memory was when I was, when you first make the jump from recreational soccer. So I don't know what that is in England. What is that? Grassroots?
Yeah, we call it Sunday League.
Yeah, okay. So you make the jump to a team that travels a little more. So you're on the road a little more. And the coach at the time, it was so I was 7 years old. He said all right, guys, we're rolling out a team. It was our first game ever. He said, raise your hand if you play striker. And the whole team raised their hand. And I was like, oh, what the, does everyone play striker here? And then he's like, all right, raise your hand if you play center back. And no one raised their hand. And I was like, well, that's a lock, right? So then I raised my hand. And I remember I played center back. I started my career as a center back, a full-on center back. Obviously 9-a-side though, so it's a joke, you can run up the pitch and stuff. I played I played center back till I was I want to say 12, and then I wasn't big enough. When I like got moved up and had to like play up and stuff, they moved me into the center of the pitch, and I played, center mid. But that was my earliest memory, just trying to lock in as many minutes as possible at a young age.
Hey, tactical. I respect that.
Don't hate the player, hate the game. No,
That's what they say, isn't it?
So that means you're happy to play any position now as long as you're on the pitch. Is that what you're saying?
That's actually like you can say that, but like that's so true.
No.
Like even right now, like I will play. Like consider myself like pretty versatile. Like I'll play like anywhere. As long as it's on the pitch. Don't like playing on the bench.
It's really important because we say this a lot. Like especially young players out there, you're never going to be seen on the bench. You can't move up the leagues on the bench. So say a coach wants you to do something, it's so important to have so many strings to your bow, and you have to be adaptable. I think that shows it. Peter, early stage of his career when he was 7 or 8, saying, you know what, I want to play. I'm going to play there.
Yeah, and that is so important because how often, even beyond positions, how often is a manager's play style different than others? If you're just the same type of player in every system, you'll only be good in probably 20% of the teams that you're on. I mean, for instance, Maidstone, you played you consider yourself maybe a left winger, and you played right through the middle. You were playing center half, which I know has been a big point of conversation throughout the last few weeks. But yeah, you consider yourself a center mid. You've played right back in Ireland. It's so important.
100%.
Yeah, and I can see it in your play style as well. That like I think because you started out playing so many different positions, you're extremely versatile.
No, for sure. Like I think if you look at like the best player at the highest level is like Kimmich, right? Like this guy's playing like right back and center mid, and like he like has verbally come out and say like he prefers center mid, right? But like he has to play right back for Germany in the Euros, so he's been like spending this year like playing right back, and like it's helpful for the team, and like that's like a guy at the highest level that you can like admire because he's doing his his role to help the team out, and also like a guy that can just be rotated like that. It's like helps the manager as well. It's amazing.
And when you play so many different positions, you understand who needs to be in what area and everyone's roles and everyone's jobs. So it makes it so much more team so much more cohesive.
There it is.
There you go. Spit that one out.
It's a tough one.
Yeah, say that 3 times fast.
I can't.
So come here. Oh my God! I just said come here. What am I, Sam Bone? I've been spending way too much time with him.
Nice.
So when you went from that travel team, what was your next step? And how long did you play center back for as well?
Yeah, like I was only center back for a couple of years, but like for me that was good for my development. But like I was kind of like a rash center back, like I try and like dribble the whole like length of the pitch and stuff.
Make tackles.
No, I would put in a tackle as well when I got a little older. But like I would always try. I think like my parents kind of like saw maybe I had like a little more quality because I had 3 older brothers, and like they all went through the system and they all played through PDA. And I think my parents maybe wanted to take the risk and put me in like an MLS academy younger. And I remember at the time there's kind of like a stigma about those academies. Like if you get in them young, you usually don't make it all the way. They cut a lot, they make changes, so you don't make it all the way up that ladder. Those guys that are there at like 12 years old, like how realistically, like none of them are there by like 18. Sadly, it's like the sad truth. So they were kind of wary at that point, but I decided to, I guess, risk it kind of in a way, and I made that jump to Red Bulls, and like for me that was a good transition. I think like it was tough, just because we were in Rutgers, Newark, which is like 45 minutes away from home. So my mom was like sadly like had to like take a lot of time, bring me to training all the time, which was tough. But I think it was a good change of pace, just because when you're in these pro academies, you get more exposure to like youth national teams and stuff. So I had it was a good time for me realistically. I just remember my parents like being on the fence about it, because it's such a risk, whenever you take, yourself from like an environment your 3 older brothers have gone through, you're started in, and then you get tossed into like a pretty cutthroat, system. They were pretty wary at the time, but I mean, it set me up for everything else, I think.
Some of the viewers won't know, but do all your brothers, they all play professionally now? Or?
Yeah, that's like another good thing. Like they all went to university. So my 3 older brothers all went to university, which is like a pretty good achievement here.
That's kind of, I feel like in the States, the goal when you set out playing a sport is to just go to school for a sport. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So they all went to school and like did really well at their respective teams. And then one of them is still playing professionally at DC
Jared.
United. Yeah, in the MLS as well. So and he's having a good season. Like he gets to play with Benteke and stuff. Like just another like
Set
really.
him up the other night as well.
Yeah.
Set him up the other night. Yeah, like set him up like 7 times. All he has to do is put the ball in the box, and the guy just scores.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But
He's been having such a good season, and so good to see because I think he's really had to work for it. He was a low draft pick, did really well for the Red Bull reserves team, made the jump, got traded, kind of got disrespected by Austin.
Crazy, yeah.
Yeah, he did really well his first season, second season barely played, and then he's killing it right now. So happy for him.
Like when he got drafted, like they go through the picks. Like when he got drafted, he thought it was over. Like he went up. I remember he was so sad. It was like the 3rd round. He didn't get picked. Like he went upstairs to like shower. He's like, I guess I gotta get like a real job, because every team was skipping. Like teams weren't even drafting, and there was like skip, and then it was like Red Bull drafted. And he was up in the shower, and we're like, oh my, like just got drafted. And then he obviously, he's made the most of it. It's been awesome.
Yeah. How many times have you played against him now?
In the MLS?
Yeah.
I've never. We played DC United.
It was like 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, yeah. But I was injured. Oh, it's tough, you know. But hopefully next season.
Soon.
That jersey swap is gonna be class. Yeah.
He's number 8 as well too. It's a sick number.
Yeah.
So
your time in Red Bull, how long were you there for? What was it, 12 to 16?
yeah. So I was there from 12 years old, I think, and then all the way till 16, and then that's when I obviously made the change to go overseas. But like, the reason, all of that came around was obviously because when you play, like, you get exposure to youth national teams, and that's where you like go to Europe. Because like in America, we don't really have like an extensive like network, and like when you go on these European trips, I guess you can show yourself a bit more to like, these European teams. So
yeah, and that came about as well, right, through English passport.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know. I have to give a shout out to my whole English family. Yeah, my dad's from Bognor, so I don't know how.
Bognor Regis,
Yeah, maybe you guys got some Bognor listeners.
We'll have to share this on Twitter to the Bognor fans.
I got it, dude. Yeah,
Stroudy to Bognor Regis. Who knows?
Love that place, but we don't like Worthing though, right? No.
No, we don't like Worthing.
Yeah, I don't like Worthing
Yeah.
after the semifinal this year.
Definitely don't.
Yeah, they actually have a banner. It's like, I'd rather be a rebel than a rock, I think, because
Really?
Bognor Regis are maybe the Stones or something. I don't know.
No, I think they are the
Probably.
Rocks. Come on, the Rocks, yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I saw they had that was a little shout out to
probably.
Bognor.
So when you decided to take the plunge into Europe and into England, whereabouts did you go?
Yeah, so I went to West Ham, obviously. So that's like, it was in the Romford area. That's where our training ground was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really know anything about like London or anything. Like that was the craziest part. Like just kind of like moved over for preseason. Like had to figure stuff out pretty quickly. But the digs was in Romford and the training ground was in Romford as well. And that's kind of where everything was. And we played at Little Heath. I can't remember if that was in Romford as well. I can't remember. That's what it was called. And then we played at Dagenham and Redbridge Stadium. That's where the 23s played.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was like kind of like just like a huge change, obviously, because you leave America and then you go overseas. But I think it was the best decision for me, like just to learn. Definitely like so much, such a different level than America.
Was it a different style of football as well, or pretty similar to the Academy?
I think it's a little less. I think though technically and tactically, like just like so much better than America. Like just understanding of the game and stuff. Just like it's probably like stood out the most. But I think athletically, like these American leagues are just like they're crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's like the biggest difference is like America is like I think a little more athletic,
Mm-hmm.
and then I think out in Europe it's a little more tactical and technical.
Yeah, I actually remember, I'll fast forward a bit, but when we were at Duke, our fitness coach was saying he thinks that we're more fit than like a lot of professionals in Europe.
No,
I don't know about that, but
but everyone that I've spoken to that's played in America says the same. Like they're just big, powerful lads here, like so strong, so quick.
To be fair, if we look at the boys, like you've joined Maidstone, and obviously your stats have been off the charts. Like,
yeah.
maybe not in speed,
Yeah.
but in distance covered,
Definitely.
means so much more. You got a caravan in your back, and definitely not in speed. And I'm not going to name who, but somebody just did a little one of these in the background. And then I'm not going to say who, but anyway. And
I have a feeling it was our guest for tomorrow, and he's going to get slapped tomorrow for doing that as well.
And then obviously Josh Frioli came over as well, and remember seeing him in preseason testing. I was like,
Bro, he was a
oh
beast.
my
Yeah,
goodness.
Yeah, he's
That was a
probably a
beast.
better representative of what an American athlete looks like than me. But yeah,
Physically, he was a joke, like
Yeah.
ridiculous.
yeah, no, it's very different. But then again, I feel like in England or in America, the aerial game is nowhere near the same. As England.
No.
Even though I think the American game
Yeah.
is more athletic, just the jumping and the power of the center halves like in the air is uncomparable.
Yeah, like those guys in Europe, and like when it comes to like heading the ball and stuff, like it's not more so about like who's more athletic. It's like you bump the guy at the right time, and like that's like really like a smart thing. Like Benteke, for example, like I've been watching him a lot because he's playing with my brother, and like he's obviously from the European leagues. He's so good at just like his timing and like his bumping. You know, it's like there's more like I feel like there's more to like aerial duels than just being like raw athleticism. You know.
Well, if you look at our team last season, Matt Rush, who's about 5'7", 5'8", maybe I'm being harsh to him there, but
Sorry, Rush.
he is so good in the
Yeah,
air
it's
because he never really challenges, but it's a little bump of the centre half, centre half of balance. They flick it on for him and he's in all the time, all the time.
But bro, even coming into National League last season, you see when I come from Ireland, and I was obviously playing centre back there, and then I went centre back in the National League, and like it's such a good little smart tactic. You get
So good.
You like there was one against Eastleigh. You might even remember it where they won 3-2 at the Gallagher.
Yeah.
But he bumped me and then just like lobbed it over. I think it was
Yeah.
Youssef or something. I was just like, that's smart.
It's not a
bastard.
foul as well.
It's not a foul.
Which
It's
is
so
Which is
annoying.
the crazy thing. When you get bumped, you kind of feel like that's a foul.
Yeah.
But it's like the guy just
Yeah.
knows
I'm-
what he's doing.
so-
you know?
I remember watching
Yeah.
they play a cam Jan Vertonghen in a game once, and it was every single clip every time there was like an action, and the amount of bumps he was doing to get like half a yard or something, it was crazy.
It was the Anderlecht clip, right?
Yes,
it's
that's the one.
so it's
Yeah, that's exactly the
incredible.
one.
And you have to think as well, like how professional he is. He's at the end of his
Yeah.
career. Probably could just retire after
Yeah.
leaving Spurs.
Yeah.
Goes back and
so
takes it so seriously as well.
Yeah.
Like their fans must love that. Just seeing that week in, week out. And it must be amazing for the boys in that changing room as
I'm
well.
glad you said that as well, because
Yeah.
that's a great example. But Kami, I want to ask a question. We touched on it briefly about West Ham, but that transition, obviously leaving the States to go there, like how long did it take you to adapt to it,
Yeah, that was like
to English culture and stuff?
Yeah.
You know.
that went like actually better than I thought, to be honest. I think
Really?
Connor, you kind of felt the same, right? Like
Yeah.
when you went out to England, like I think like the people, you know, especially my teammates were super good dudes. Like they kind of poke fun at the American thing, you know how it is. Out there.
Just a bit.
Yeah,
That's
just a
genuine,
bit.
that is genuinely why I asked
Yeah.
you the question.
No, like they poke, you know, a little fun at it, but it's like a way for you to, you know, like get closer to the guys and stuff. So I think like it went better, I would think, than I thought. It was tough, like leaving my family behind, especially my brothers and my dad. That was like definitely tough, but like the guys were just, you know, you get along, you know, especially at that age too. I was like 16, so like you're so young, and it's just like everyone's starting to become like a full-time footballer, right? Because that's like when you become a scholar and stuff. So like they were all learning. It almost felt like they were kind of learning at the same time I was learning in a way. So
And were there any people in your digs? Obviously, you spoke about that. Was there anyone that really stood out, or any like friends that you've made for life, or anyone that's gone on to really big things in the
My
game?
boy Alfie Lewis, no?
I remember Alfie was a great player, yeah, but he's doing all right, I think. I don't know.
He hasn't got a club at the minute.
Is it?
But no anniversary, so
That's
I
true.
think I remember we
That's
talked
true.
about that the other day. We talked about
Yeah,
how
well,
he
we
hasn't
was
had
on
a club.
place. I'm sure he was there. We'll
That,
take
like,
this out, but
shocked
he
me
was
because
there. He was some player. Jeez,
Yeah,
man, some
he
player.
is. Was he left-footed?
No, bro.
I think he's right.
Damn, my boy doesn't remember Alfie
I don't know.
Lewis.
That's the also like, to answer your question, like that's the bad thing. Like I remember when I left, I was like crying. I was like so sad because like I'd become so close to like all these guys, and I like made it like a promise to myself, like I'm gonna stay close with all of them. Like I'm gonna make an effort. And then like it was when COVID hit and everything, and like I still like we're still in a group chat all together, you know. So like we still poke fun at each other, but like. I haven't done as good of a job as I wish, maybe keeping in touch with them, but like a couple of them, I still message a couple of them when I see them, you know, doing good things, because a lot of them are taking next steps, obviously. Like one of my friends just got engaged. He's at Salford City. He went on loan there. But yeah, like I've been keeping up with them, I would say. But they're all really like just such good kids. I mean, and they're all like grown up now, obviously, and and they're doing their thing. So it's always, that's like one thing, you know, I try not to be on social media that much, especially because, you know, how like it can be tough after games, especially when you don't, maybe a result doesn't go your way. So I try and stay off of it. But that's like been the one good thing for me is like to be able to see, you know, all those guys who are obviously so far away to see how they're doing.
Do you find it hard to not look at social media after games? Because we've spoken a few times, and then by the pool earlier, you did say after every game, as soon as you get in foot mob, you want to see that 7+ rating. You want to see the green next to your name.
Yeah, I will say that. That's like a terrible habit too, like basing your game off of like a foot mob rating. Because like I've had games where I've been like, oh, I have to have a good foot mob rating, like right when I leave the pitch. And I'm like headed to the locker room. I'm like, oh, God, I have a good rating. I'm so happy. And then I check it and it's like 6.4 or something. I'm like, no, that's just not right. But that's a bad habit, actually. I got to stop that. But it's so satisfying, like I said. And that's my favorite thing to do after a game is check foot mob. Like, I don't want to text anyone. I just want to check foot mob.
I feel like it is kind of human nature, especially when you had a
Yeah,
game.
of course.
That
It is
everyone's
100%.
Googled themselves, or everyone's put themselves into Twitter. You want to see...
He's the worst culprit ever.
I'm on the fans forums. I like to see fans forums. Want to see what people are saying. It is hard, and like sometimes like people say like,
it's so tough.
especially when I was releasing stuff, people were saying yeah, good, too many injuries, all this sort of stuff. I'm saying that.
No, but most
so
people were
tough.
positive.
But
saying,
yeah,
that's
like,
true, that's
there's
true,
some player there and stuff.
But I think eventually you'll grow out of that. I
Yeah,
used to
no,
do
yeah.
that when I was younger, and now it's just like.
But I feel like it
don't
doesn't
do
actually like
anymore.
it doesn't.
He's 25, bro.
Yeah.
He's 25.
But I feel like it doesn't
Come
actually
on,
affect me though. I'm just like I more use it as fuel. If someone says something bad about me, I was like, oh, I got a bit of a chip on my shoulder. It's just how I
Yeah.
am. So
Yeah.
You just have to figure out what works for you. What works for you is not going to work
No,
for
of course.
It's
for
true,
Birmingham.
actually. Like you said, there actually could be a thing where you use it as motivation
course.
to go and say, right, the next game, I want to go and do this and smash it and shut these people up. Each their own, I suppose.
But like to me, it's crazy how like everyone does that. Like
But
you're not like
It's just
alone.
human
I do
nature.
the same thing. Like
Yeah.
if I play a good game, I've learned though, like only type your name if you play a good game.
Yeah.
Right? Don't like if you play a bad game.
I've got a funny story, right? So I got a friend who I played with at Shamrock Rovers. I won't say his name. In fact, I'll say it, but we can edit it out if it comes across bad. Joel Straight, right? And I used to share a room with him. And this brother typed his name in after a game. And he got slated. He got slated because I remember. Sorry, I need to compose myself. And that funny was too story. That story was too funny.
Two stories. You can't even talk.
Bro, I swear to God, it was after UCD, and he used to always do it. And he typed his name in. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna type his name in as well and see. And he got absolutely slated. And I just thought, oh, this poor fella. But
It's happened to me before though. I remember I missed a penalty against Bath last year, and I was going through Twitter, and one fan, I'll probably beep it, was like,
And you know what? Like 3 weeks later, he scored a hat trick, and I signed his ball. Congrats.
But it's ruthless, man.
Oh, it's
Social media is
crazy.
ruthless, and if you haven't got the mental strength for it, you can get lost in it. Like you can kill your confidence, and like you just won't become the same player.
But what's terrible about it is they can be saying the worst things about you. And I think in the US, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's a bit less intense, even though like the clubs are massive in terms of like attendance and stuff. I don't think people take it with them when they leave the ground. Versus in England,
it affects the
It's-
whole week.
you're getting messages any day. You know.
Well, bro, what about last night when Charlotte hit the post and the whole like stadium started cheering?
That was so strange.
That was so
Yeah.
miles off it. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah,
I don't want to offend any Red Bull fans if they're watching this because of you, but I was just like, what?
It's
Like,
just
what?
it's just different. It's
more of
Yeah.
an event, isn't it?
yeah. I mean, I remember when I signed for Maidstone under the tweets, people were like, "Oh, can anyone reach out to like the Duke fans and see what they think of him and NC State?" And I was like, "Don't think there's any NC State or Duke fans, unfortunately. I don't think there's anyone to reach out
The
to."
alumni.
Yeah, literally. Like, it's just not followed the same way over here. It's more an event. It's more of a day out.
Yeah,
you know?
I noticed that yesterday, but
Yeah,
it's
of
still like the atmosphere was great. When
That
the
was close.
national anthem was sung and they started,
That is actually the strangest thing to me. And you were saying that before every game, even in high school, the national anthem is sung.
Every sporting event, whether it be college, high school, professional, they sing the national anthem.
That is
before.
so strange.
You know
Yeah.
what's crazy is when we play. There's 3 teams in our league from Canada, and when you play them, so like you know how you guys heard the national anthem, they have to do the 2 national anthems. So they have to do
Really?
the Canadian national anthem
And then-
and the U.S.
No
national anthem.
way.
So it's like
Crazy.
when you're playing Canadian team, you're walking out and you're like, oh wait, like I have to listen to 2 national
Yeah,
anthems
that's
today,
right.
you know?
Shout
And
out
then what
Michael
about-
Petrasso, huh?
Yeah,
and
Mickey P.
Canada, correct me if I'm wrong, Pete. That anthem bangs. Oh, Canada is a good anthem.
It is a great anthem.
Yeah.
Especially when you get the people that can sing both, you know, they like belt out, you know, the Canadian one, you're like, wow. And then they go right into the US one and you're like,
Yeah.
that is.
So when did you leave West Ham, and what was your kind of feeling around then? Well, actually, take us a bit through more your experience at West Ham, and then talk about how you left it.
Yeah. So I signed a scholar there, obviously. So like that's the 2-year thing, right? So it's like first year, you know, is like you're kind of like a young U18, right?
Mhm.
And then second year, you're kind of the older U18s. But usually West Ham is pretty good about that. Like I think they've done a good job, like obviously pumping out some young players, like Declan Rice, obviously, and then Josh Cullen is at Burnley. He was the captain there. He was at the 23s when I was there, so like I got to be around those guys. I remember I trained with the 23s my first year, and like it was Dex. Like he started that first game of the Premier League, but got whipped at half, and then he got sent to the 23s the next day, and he was like training with us. And he was like, he still had a great attitude and everything. And I remember, I remember training with him, like learning a lot from that. I think my first year, you know, it was kind of like raw, and I was learning everything. And I learned so much. I think I was in like a really protected environment in America, whereas like, you know, you're usually, you know, the best guy in your team. And then for me, it was so good to go to England and like not be the best guy in the team. You know, there's guys from all over the world
Competing.
Yeah, exactly. We had like Serbian guys. And for me to learn that lesson while I was younger, I think you know, obviously when you're going through it, it's like, this is the worst, you know, maybe I'm not playing every single game, not starting every single game, but like you're learning stuff because, you know, when you're breaking into a first team as well, you know, you're a young guy and
builds
like
resilience.
Exactly. So like you're not like getting too, you know, impatient and stuff. But yeah, I think for me that was great. Like one of the stories, like I remember the first time I was training with the 23s, and we used to train like right next to the first team, and I got called over to the training with the first team like mid-session, and it was like, you know, like how you have the sessions the day after a game, you know. Usually those are pretty toxic. Like the guys that no one's happy to be training in that session. So I remember like I was 16 at the time, and like I was playing with these guys, and I remember someone played me, and you remember Carlos Sanchez? Do you remember the Colombian?
Yeah.
I dummied it, and I've never gotten leveled so hard in my entire life. And this guy was the sweatiest guy I've ever seen. Like his kit was like you could wring his kit, and I just got leveled, and I was like, oh my gosh, like that rattled me so bad. And like the rest of the session, I was like kind of like hiding and stuff. But that was like that was the first year, and then the second year, like I actually had an injury too. I actually did my other ankle, my right ankle, like broke in like a preseason game against Felix though. Which was crazy. Like
You got snapped, right?
Yeah, I just like going for a second ball. Me and this guy both wanted the second ball, I guess. Ended up worse, obviously. And then so I had that problem for the first couple months, and then I came back and I started getting fitness and playing really well. And I think I was back for like January, February. We got knocked out of Youth Cup by Charlton, which was like heartbreaking.
Love
Tough
that.
one.
Yeah, Pony's boys.
Love
Yeah,
that, my boys.
I like that, but and then COVID kind of hit, and it was kind of like, all right, like I have a decision to make here. Like I kind of saw like how tough it is to make it in England. Like you have to jump in line to get into the first team, and then you gotta wait. You know, you gotta wait. You have to get so lucky. Like guys have to go down injured, and then you have to get a chance, which is so hard. And then you have to take that chance. So like so much goes into it. Like I've seen so many good guys like just not make it because, you know, they go on loan so much, and maybe while they're on loan, like another guy gets a chance, you know? And like he's on loan so he can get minutes, but the guy that stayed around, like he ends up getting the chance and breaking through,
And then
you know?
even when you think you're going to get your chance, then they'll just go sign someone else from, you know, a random club around the world.
Bro, that's happened so many times in my career.
10, 15 minutes.
Where I
crazy,
said,
huh?
right, this is my shot now. I'm going to play this game because this person's injured. It just doesn't work
Someone
like
else
that.
comes through the door.
It's just like,
brilliant.
when am I going to get a break?
I mean, even look at Chelsea this season. Cassidy, who's killing it for Leicester, gets called back on loan. He's the fourth center mid. They're doing 3 center mids. Everyone's just fine, and he never gets a chance to start a match.
Yeah.
He was back for about 6 months. Was on the bench the whole time, probably just thinking, "Oh, okay, someone will go down. I'll be able to play," and no one did. That's just how it is, and you kind of have to it's a game of luck, and
crazy.
and opinions.
But then,
as well.
when you do get that chance, like you said, you have to take it.
You have to take it.
You have to take
And
it.
that's so true you say that, because the minute you don't take it, you're not getting another chance.
You're completely done. You're
Yeah.
gone.
You can easily fall out of the picture, you know.
There's such fine margins.
It is. It's ruthless as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scary ruthless.
So you said there was a decision to make. You were committed to Duke for a fair
Yeah.
while. So you must have been in your head thinking,
That was the problem. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean for sure. Like
because they were so bro, for a year. We have the center mid coming from West Ham, Peter Stroud.
Yeah.
Connor, he's from New Jersey actually, and I was like, okay, cool.
I was
That was-
thinking, who the hell is this kid?
I was like, please don't come take my spot.
What spot, bro?
Yeah, facts. Well, because of him, what spot?
Jeez, no, but yeah, like COVID hit, and like I said, like you always like just. I had 3 older brothers. You just kind of like follow their footsteps, you know. Like I had watched them go to college, and like they had all 3 of them had the best experience. Like, and like I was growing up as a kid, like watching them have that experience, and I was like, I want that experience, you know. And like I did take a different route, you know, to go from like a Premier League, you know, youth system to college. Like I remember a lot of people were like, what is going on? I was like, I don't know, I'm just doing what I want, I guess, you know. And that's the path I took, and like that's when I came to Duke. We did the COVID season, right? Like
Yeah.
I remember because I was in England, and I think Trump literally was like, all right, we're closing the borders in 2 days. And my mom and my dad were like, we have to get home. Like, this is going to be like the new normal. And I was like, no, it's not. Like, it's only going to be 5 days, because that's what they were telling us. And so they were like, no. I was like, all right, like, I guess I'll go home. Like, I guess I will go to Duke, you know? Like, so I went upstairs that day, like, tore up my scholar, literally said goodbye to everyone. It was like a tough day for me, because obviously, like, those are all my, you know, really close friends. And then got in the car and then literally left like the next day. So like it just like it was like that, you know.
Were West Ham like resistant to let you go, or they understood?
No, they understood. They understood
Yeah.
that was the path. I mean, like when I think about the guys that were ahead of me at the time, they were older as well, and like they were all such good players. I remember used to like look up to them. But like crazy thing is now is like what I'm doing is like some of them aren't even playing anymore.
It's crazy.
And I'm playing, you know. So it's like maybe this was the
definitely
the
worked out.
right path, you know?
Bro, I remember being like 16, 17, playing for Cedar Stars, which doesn't have a professional team. And there are players, I'm not going to name names, who I'm playing at the same level as them now. And I used to like be on Instagram and just be like, oh my God, like they're so good. And that's how hard it is to make it. And also that's how many different paths there are to play at similar levels as well. But what was your feeling going into Duke then? Were you excited, or were you kind of like, I wish I was doing the scholar? What was your thinking?
I was so excited. I was
Really?
so pumped. I mean, like, I said, like, I saw my brothers, like, they got to go down that route, like, the experiences they had, and, like, the friends they made. Like, I don't think you can make those, you know, like, anywhere else, because you're, like, older, so you understand it a little more. So I was just so excited, you know? Like, I didn't really think about the soccer aspect, which is, like, pretty bad, you know? Like, I just was kind of like, I want to go and, like, have this experience. And, like, the soccer the first year was...
4 games won over 20 matches.
Yeah,
Bro,
we were that to me. Yeah,
we were, I mean, it was a tough year because you only played against the good teams. You only played in conference.
Yeah, but
We got battered every week. And then we would just win a game that, like, we all
But I
thought
tell
we
you
were
what,
actually gonna
when
lose.
you won that game, what a feeling! Like I remember, like when I've been on like losing teams before, and like people are always like, "Oh, that must stink," you know. Like every time you win a game when you're on a losing team is like you just won the World Cup final, and that was how it was my first year with you and obviously all the rest of the guys. Like when we won a game, it was like the best day of my life, and it was like. We just won a game against the same team that was.
What was it? We beat Virginia Tech, and Virginia Tech were so good that year. We showed up, and at this point, our season's done. We actually can't, because they did the tournament mid-season. There was actually no way for us to have a chance at anything. There was no access of playoffs or anything. So we were just basically playing for fun at this point. We showed up. We were kind of expecting to lose. We just battered them 4-1.
Yeah, I remember that.
And we were like, we got in the coach back. We were like partying.
It was like our 4th win out of like 20 games. Good
What
result,
were the coaches
boys.
saying?
Oh,
I don't remember. To be fair, I didn't listen too much.
yeah.
But
tough one.
the next season was crazy. I mean, well, first off, you took it. I think having your class come in was so important because this is a class that a bunch of the guys have gone on to do good things, and they really helped like the team camaraderie. And it was a transition year because a lot of the young kids were getting a lot of minutes, but they really changed like the dynamic of the team. And I remember one game. I think it was good for the culture as well, just because, you know, we were kind of used to losing at some point that year, and there was a game that we lost, and he just sat in the changing room for like 2 hours on his own after the match. Had like had a sweatshirt over his head, and we like, Peter, are you okay? Wasn't crying or anything.
No,
he just wasn't acknowledging us. I was like,
sick
okay.
of it.
Yeah.
Sick of it. Like we would lose games, and like to be fair, in that game, like I let my runner off like last minute and score, and like because they had a rule in college, like where we used to play, every game went into overtime, and it was golden goal. So imagine that.
Saying,
Yeah. So like you would go into a game and like you'd have to play like potentially like what is it, like 20 extra minutes, or is it 5
Yeah, it was
minutes?
2 10-minute periods.
And if they scored, it was over. And of course, my guy runs off me and scores.
Bro.
And I was just like, this just sums the season up. Like my first year, I was like, this is like absolutely horrible. I was having fun off the pitch with the team, but on the pitch.
Probably too much fun considering the results. But I actually remember that goal. It was against Kentucky, wasn't it?
Banged it top corner.
The ball's headed out. Stroudy's runner. You wouldn't expect him to do anything from it. Bangs it top bins from like 20 yards out, and we were just like, damn.
Sums up the season.
And the whole team runs on the pitch
bench,
after.
yeah.
It's crazy, you know?
The worst feel. It's the best feeling. Like we had the next year, we had an unbelievable overtime winning against UVA, and it's the best feeling ever. Whole bench is clear. But when someone does that on your pitch as well, it is. It's awful.
I feel like that's the biggest difference, you know? Like the teams, like the difference between like a good team and like a team that loses a bunch is like the good teams, like just as easy it is to win games, like it's just as easy to lose games, you know? Like when you see City winning, like they win every single week, you know? There's always the other side where it's like they're losing every week, you know? It's so easy, I feel like in soccer or football, to like get in a rut where you just get in streaks of just either losing a bunch of games or winning a bunch of games.
Just habits,
So
isn't
competitive
it?
as well.
Yeah. When there's winning habits and losing habits.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that actually kind of takes us to the next season at Duke. We kind of went in, and to be honest, it was my last season. I didn't expect too much of it. I was like, you know what, we'll see what happens. I hope we do as well as possible. And I think that season exceeded everyone's expectations, and that's kind of where you blew up a bit, right?
That's funny. Yeah, like when you were talking about it, like I don't know what happened. Like I just came back that year, and like I think I just had a lot of confidence. You know, like I was used to the level and stuff, and like I just changed. Like I just came back a better player and everything, and we had a good year that year.
Yeah, I
What
think
was that your sophomore year?
Yeah, like I don't know what happened. I tried to put my finger on it. Like that summer I played with, like I remember that year, like I would say that was what, 2020? Oh, that's right.
2021.
Oh yeah. 2021. So
Yeah.
like that year I had come back, and like I hadn't really like I wouldn't say like I had a great year like personally. Like I was like kind of average. But like in that off season, I went back, you know, Red Bulls. I went back and trained first team. I hadn't trained first team since like I trained with West Ham's first team when I was like 16, and then I trained first team at Red Bull, and I was nervous, you know, like I hadn't trained first team or anything, and then I like did well. I think I gained some confidence at that, and then I went to Austin for a week as well, and I gained confidence again, you know, from training with the first team and like not like you know. Like holding my own. I didn't really have much faith. Yeah, I just needed like maybe like oh, those are the worst, man.
we've had a fair fall.
I don't know if we can say that.
That's probably gonna have to get cut out, unfortunately.
Yeah, like when they're the neutral as well or the joker, and like
Oh, we've had some stories.
it just goes in and it
We'll
goes
tell you
out.
one off camera after.
And I know exactly. We've had some stories as well together from Duke.
Yeah, I can just think. Yeah,
My brain's getting scarred right now.
yeah. The guest tomorrow definitely has some stories about that too, for sure. Lots of training sessions on that pitch, but yeah, like when you're training and just there's always that guys. It's always like the neutral poor guys like giving it away.
Well, I think that's where you see it the most, because it's like you give it to them and you're like, oh, they're playing for us, and when they just give it away, it's the worst. But yeah, that season was crazy, man. Like I knew we had some good players, but I think 11, maybe I think I was saying it the other day. I think 11 of that team has gone on to play professionally,
Yeah.
which is crazy numbers. But it's really impressive, yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
What was your steps after that then?
Yeah, so then I went back. I played that whole year, and then I had a decision to make because I had done, like well enough to the point where the American rules are crazy. Like, because I played with Red Bull,
You have to sign for
they owned me basically,
Yeah.
And
Is
I
it on
played
the rights or something?
Yeah.
What?
So because I played with Red Bull when I was like, what was I like?
12 to 16.
When I left, I was probably like 15 or 16, and they still owned me. So like when I came, so throughout college, like they were always, I couldn't get drafted. Like some of these guys could get drafted, like the guest tomorrow. Sneak, yeah. like you can get drafted, and I didn't have that experience because I played for Red Bull when I was younger.
Right.
So
Okay.
they basically like had first rights to me, basically like dibs on me. Like they basically controlled like my future, basically.
So basically, if someone else wanted you,
They would
Red
have
Bull
to
would
buy
say,
them from
actually,
Red
you
Bull.
know
Yeah,
what? We'll just take him. If you're that interested, we'll have him.
Exactly.
instead.
And
No
that's kinda
way.
yeah. It's
But you-
crazy. It's crazy how it works.
You boys have asked me a few times, like, why didn't I play for Red Bulls? One, because it was so far, but my parents were always like, you want to go to college. If you play for the Red Bulls, that's the only team you can go to. They have to pass on you, or they can kind of hold you ransom for money. Versus if you play for Cedar Stars, you go to college, you do well enough to get drafted, any team can take you. So it actually almost, if your goal is to go to college, which a lot of kids are because it's so cutthroat as well, that's actually, at the time, I think it's changed a bit now, but at the time, that was actually probably a better route.
Right. So as soon as you started ripping it up in your last year, you sort of knew
I knew
Wasn't
I
it
was going
your
to Red
last
Bulls.
year? Though, was
I'm
it?
going
I
to
knew-
Red Bulls.
Yeah, it was my sophomore year. So my second year.
Second year,
Out
second
of 4
4
years. Second out of 4, yeah.
Oh my
So it's
god, I'm
early.
completely
Yeah.
damn.
Yeah.
was
So then
early.
Red Bulls obviously like got into like pretty deep contract negotiations, like was like on the fence about whether I should leave or not. It was like definitely a tough decision for me at the time because, obviously like you're a young kid, like you just want to start your career, but obviously like
the degree.
that was the thing. Like if I gave up, West Ham and I gave up that, like, and I started this, like, why would I, like essentially throw this away? Like shout out to, my teammate Thor, like he left that year and, he's not going to probably get his degree from Duke, and for me, my goal was to always graduate from Duke. So my family decided like, let's just come back next year and leave. Like I got like into the negotiations, my agent at that time was like forcefully, like clearly wanted me to sign,
Yeah, of
which is
course.
normal at the game, right?
Makes complete
Like,
sense.
for sure. Like he wanted me to make his, his cut and stuff. And, but I was like, yeah, no, I'm going to stay so I can get more, classes done. I'm going to get my shoulder fixed. I needed like just like a maintenance kind of done on that. So that's like kind of the family decision in the end.
Demanded penalty kicks for next year.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Poor Nick
Help.
Periano. Hey, he's getting a shout out. That'll be a future podcast as well.
Tough one.
A guy hadn't missed a pen at Duke, and Stroudy says, to come back, I want to be on pens. I said,
is too
sorry,
cold.
Nick.
That is too cold,
That's one of
man.
his good mates as well.
I was
is
about to
too
say that
cold.
he's one of my best friends as well. Like we've never really aired that out together, so hopefully this can be us like ironing that out.
Hey, but that's what you need to make it to the top. I
There
guess,
you go.
right?
You gotta be
especially,
ruthless.
especially in America, stats are like
Is it a big thing?
crazy. Stats are, especially in college.
And
No,
Really?
dude, I hear it all the time from Connor.
You have mentioned it
Goals,
before.
all the time from
assists.
Connor. And Connor will say something like, yeah, but he only got such and such. Like,
Yeah.
and
That's
then
just
like,
how it
even we
is.
saw Matt Bentley, like Matt Bentley had unbelievable stats. You're like, oh, he must be good. He's had some good stats, and he was
Yeah.
okay for Mason.
like
do you know what I mean?
Busquets.
Yeah.
If Busquets was in America,
Yeah.
like he ain't.
He'd be rotting.
Bro, I swear there are scouts,
Yeah,
and they go on your website, click stats, and it's like, oh, he's good. That's such a good example. Xavi, and he has to
Yeah.
Busquets, like players that aren't stat players. Listen, there are eyes on the game somewhat. Like I don't think you were someone that had crazy stats.
No, I
but
still
you
didn't
were
have
always
stats.
viewed as like the best midfielder
Yeah.
in the country. And I think that was maybe through people watching more. But there's some teams that they just don't really watch, and it's all about the stats.
It's no wonder you're
crazy.
telling your assistant coach 16 out of 18 passes or something. On
That's
the,
exactly, bro.
damn.
Hey, I had to let them know.
Listen, ball retention is key. you
Yeah,
know?
exactly. Come
Those
on.
algorithms are crazy. Like the scouting systems doesn't like I've seen it at our club too. Like our scouts, like we have full-time scouts, and like they have like a database, like algorithm, and like teams don't share it with each other. Like,
of course not.
They have like ways to like, I think Brighton has like the best, right? Like they have the algorithm where they're able to like, because they're able to get like guys and like sell
Yeah,
them
that's
off.
yeah.
They get
100%.
crazy.
the most random players.
Yeah, like they'll
Yeah.
get like
All over the world.
Ecuadorians,
Yeah.
and then they'll like get them for like literally nothing, and then they'll just
Flip 'em.
cash out on them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Pete, after you made that decision to stay, what was that next year like? It turned out pretty well for you, didn't it?
Yeah, the season after.
Yeah, yeah,
Decided
so your
to
junior
stay.
season.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I feel like that was a tough one because I knew that I could be playing pro right now. So like that summer was tough.
Did you feel added pressure going into that season?
Yeah, I did. I felt like 10 times more pressure, because that year I did like the 2021 season, my sophomore year when I did well, I had no clue like all these teams were kind of watching and all these teams cared, and then when negotiation happened that year, I was like, oh, like dang, like people watch, people are like keeping like an eye out on everything. So I knew going in like this was going to be like an important season for me. And we moved a couple guys on as well. Like we moved all of you. Your class was like a huge loss. Obviously, you and Ian Murphy.
It was just me and Murph, yeah.
Yeah, but like just for like the locker room and like the squad, like those are like two, important guys, and we lost them. And I remember
Two
thinking to
ballers as
myself,
well.
yeah, big time players.
One
and
is the other one sat next to me.
yeah, but I remember like thinking like, oh, like it's not gonna be the same. We're losing some important people. But it actually was better than it, I initially thought. I would say maybe I didn't have as good a season as my 2021 season. I wonder if that's maybe because I had put like pressure on myself, I wonder if that factored into that. But, or maybe I did, I just can't see it, but like, cause I'm hard on myself, but like,
Yeah, you raise the expectations.
exactly.
As well,
Yeah. So, I still had a decent enough year. I think like, we were undefeated, which was pretty cool. That was actually awesome. And then we made it to the Elite Eight and lost, which was tough. It was like the quarterfinals.
Here's a question. How did it feel when you leave and then they go do so well the year after? Is that quite tough?
No, I mean, we've talked about it in the past. Like, I didn't really have a good relationship with the coaches at all. So I never really felt, I saw them doing well, but I didn't feel that I would have been integral to that, no matter what I did.
Yeah, I get you.
So I did my year elsewhere. Really enjoyed that. Like, it went really well.
Did you ever play?
No, we didn't play. I'm
did you?
so unfortunate. I'll tell you what, though, I don't know how close we'd be if we did play.
They kicked each other.
We would have been against each other in the midfield, both like pretty feisty. But it would have been really nice to play. No, it was unfortunate. But no, I wouldn't say I was rooting for Duke, but I was rooting for all the players.
Yeah,
I want all my friends to have success.
Course.
So, and I guess a byproduct of all my individual friends having success is collective success. So I was very happy for them, and I wanted them to do well, and it was cool. I'm fortunate that it didn't like end with a title or anything, but yeah, it's
Hey, Elite Eight, it's not bad, is it?
No, I think it was the farthest Duke had been in like 20 years or something.
Yeah, like it was a good run for us, to be honest. Like to do that well, it was good, and it was fun. But I think like a part of me also was like, soccer's like or football's getting so young now. Like you need to be, especially in the MLS, which is where I wanted to go. Like you needed to be, young, especially at Rebels. That's important to them, and part of me my heart was always kind of ready to like make that jump, throughout the whole season. So once that season ended and I made it like injury free, I was like, okay,
time to go.
Yeah, let's go. Like let's get this started. Like I feel like I'm finally ready. Like I did everything I could in college.
And so you left. You're in your third year, end of your third year, so you still have a year left. So can you go back to Duke and complete a degree?
I can go back and finish my school, for sure. So that's good. I'll go back and finish. I'll be like the 35-year-old in the class.
But you can't play football, could you?
No, I can't play.
The weird dude in the corner shooters at the bar.
Yeah.
So you'd probably be the cool dude, let's be honest.
Yeah, to be fair.
Hopefully, yeah. Jeez. But yeah, that's how that happened. And then that ended in like November. And then had December to get, everything signed, sealed, then January preseason.
Yeah. And how was that transition? I mean, I feel like football is all about transitions.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've always had faith in myself for sure. So, like, I kind of went in and I kind of always knew that I was going to be able to, have like an impact, like try and show, obviously doesn't like, I was definitely nervous. Obviously, you never know, like when you don't know how things are going to go, you can definitely, worry a little bit.
The fear of the unknown, isn't it?
Exactly. You never know how you're going to do, but it always goes better than you expect. So I think that, it went well. I had a really good preseason. Like I thought I kicked a couple doors down. The gaffer was from Austria, so he was an Austrian guy. He was awesome. Kind of got in, showed that I can like play the level, which was important for me. And then the season started. I made my debut the first game, and then I went 4 games without touching the pitch. but like that was kind of expected, you know, as a rookie. That was like tough too, you know, obviously still because I thought I was training well. And that's like one of my crazy stories actually is like how I actually made my debut. So we played. I'd gone like 3 games without touching the pitch, and I was kind of getting frustrated. Like I think I've, you know, get a little frustrated easily. But we were playing Charlotte FC on that Saturday, and we played Charlotte FC on that Saturday. I didn't get in, and I had a video session with the gaffer before that, and he was just video ripping me, right, just clipping me. He's like, "Oh, you gotta play forward more, blah blah blah," you know, just ripped me right before that game. And I was like, "Oh, I guess I'm not getting on this game." So I don't get on that game. The next training week starts. Like we're at a Tuesday session, you know, not on the starting lineup. Wednesday session, not on the starting lineup. Thursday session, like it's kind of a light one. I realized like I might not even be traveling tomorrow, and I'm pissed. Right? I'm like, this is horrible. Like this is the worst. Like how does this happen? You know? And the assistant gaffer comes up to me. He's like, "Why are you upset?" You know, in his you know Austrian accent. And I'm like I'm training so well. I can't get a look. He goes to me. He goes, "Oh, we were thinking about starting you in Charlotte, but, you know, too big of an atmosphere maybe for a first start," right? He says that to me. I'm like, huh? And the squad comes out the next day. I'm not in the squad. So I'm training with the second team after the first team. So I show up and I see the first team training. And I'm like, God, like I'm not even traveling anymore. This is the worst. Someone goes down in the first team session, right? And they're like, "Pete, go home, get your stuff. You're traveling with the first team." And I'm like seriously, like, go sit bench again. The next morning, I'm going for coffee. The coach pulls me over. He says, "Yeah, like, how would you feel if I tell you you're a starter player today?" In his Austrian accent. I'm like,
Starter player.
I'm like, that's exactly how he said it. I'll never forget it. My heart sunk. I was like, "What?" He's like, "Yes, I believe." Like he went on a whole spiel. And I was like, yeah, like let's go. I'll play. And I remember it made no sense because the game before they were like, "You can't play Charlotte, too big an atmosphere," right? Which was like 30,000 fans. They're like, "Oh, you're starting in front of 60,000 fans the next week."
Atlanta, wasn't it?
And I was like, "What?" And then that was how my first start happened. And then
Was it Atlanta?
yeah, it was away in
Yeah.
Atlanta. That's why it was like the craziest
The
thing.
craziest atmosphere in MLS.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's like yeah. I remember like my girlfriend was telling me too. Like I remember I was like I get like pretty up down pretty quickly. So I was like upset. I was like, "How am I not traveling? You know, this is tough." And then the next thing you know, like, boom, you're in the starting lineup. It's like things change. She tells me all the time, things change so quickly, and it's so true.
That's literally football in a nutshell.
It's the most unpredictable thing.
Yeah.
And that like I learned that like that lesson happened early, and after that I was like, all right, like you cannot expect anything to go like
Plain sailing.
the way you think.
Yeah.
It's never gonna go that way.
That must have actually been quite a tough transition because at Duke you were the main guy.
Oh, of course.
And
Yeah.
you know, if you didn't train well, it realistically didn't matter.
I never trained. Well, I didn't try in training.
I don't know if you want to air that out, but
Yeah, I didn't try and train.
yeah, you weren't
bad.
You
for
weren't
me.
the best trainer.
No,
You'd have times where like you really went after it and it was like, "Oh, Stroudy's angry today," but you kind of saved it for the game, which also is fair enough. It's 17 matches from late August till early December, so it's a lot. You don't train too much, but that must have been so weird to then be like, "I'm training so well, and I can't get a sniff."
Yeah, you're training for your life, like basically, you know, especially when you're trying to like get your foot into the door, like, and you know, like people don't expect much, you know, when you're coming from college, like you're not supposed to play. Like that's the new like thing is, you know, college guys aren't really able to contribute. So I had to like deal with that, you know, coming into a team.
And you must feel like you got such like a limited window.
Oh, you do, and
Like say like I only have this amount of time.
I remember like
Season's not that long.
I remember like when I got the first start, like so many thoughts run through your head because like if that doesn't, like I said, like if you don't take your chance, it's like okay,
You have
this
to wait a
is
little while.
Almost
Yeah.
could be me. Yeah.
How did that game go?
that's the crazy thing. Like I stepped in and I played really well.
I was gonna
Like
say.
yeah,
I was
played
hoping you wasn't going to tell me that you got
So
battered.
what did was it Footmob? What did Footmob say?
Yeah, I had a 7.0, but you know,
Damn, bro remembers the
He
rating.
had the decimal.
I had a 7. No, there's more to this. I had a 7.0 in the first half, but then in the second half, like you know how games get scrappy and you like head the ball,
Yeah.
like you're just trying to like the ball's like bouncing around the middle of the park and
Get
you
it
just head it.
forward a little bit,
Yeah, like every time I headed it, it would go to like an Atlanta guy, so I lost like a lot of got some points cuffed off, so I ended up with a 6.7, but it's okay.
I want to pull that up and I want to see if that's a 6.7. That is mentally.
6.6, 6.6, 6.7,
Oh, yeah,
6.6.
he's lying now. He's probably 6'2".
Okay. So
That was
how
fun.
did it go from there? So you got your start. How'd the
Yeah.
rest of the season kind of turn out for you?
Then slipped back into not playing for a couple games. We were in a tough time though, like a really tough time. Kept losing, like it was not great. But then we had a manager change, and we had like a cup game, and I got the cup game, played well, and then I went on a spell for like 7-8 games, starting, playing every single game. Being a pretty important part. We started getting a little better results. Like the summer period is the most important time. I think that's like the Christmas period, right?
Yeah.
And like in the European calendars, started getting a little bit better. This was flying, and then like I said, like when you're a college guy, it's not much room for error. I had like a bad game, like just like didn't really follow the match plan, like just got selfish and like just wanted the ball the whole game,
Off
which was
script.
yeah. I went off script and
That's
got
what we
whipped
call
at half. Tough game. And then I didn't get a look in. Like I didn't get a consistent look in. I got a couple of starts after that, but it was good first year for me. Like I think even though, you obviously want to like start every single game, that's just not the reality, especially as a rookie. But I think every game, like I learned so much and I got better. And I think that helped me coming into the second year, obviously. Like
How different was the transition from playing at college level to then the MLS?
it's so different. I mean, these guys are full time, and these guys are, like I said, the league is so athletic. Like some of these guys are so quick, and like you don't have a time. You really don't have any time. Like it's just wild. You get the ball in the middle of the pitch, like you
They're
are
on you.
just like there's right on you. So, and the guys are so quick too. You got to be careful. It's easy to get sent off for sure. Got to be careful.
What about playing in front of those crowds?
Yeah.
That was there.
That's good. I think like it's crazy though. Like I think you guys probably know too. Like when you play in front of those crowds, you don't hear them.
You don't.
It's
so true.
So
And I
locked
don't
in, aren't
think
you?
So true.
I don't think anyone like people that don't play don't understand that.
Yeah.
It's like so hard to think that you people can like block out like 30,000 people.
Yeah.
But like you just don't. And then after the game, it's like there's a
Literally.
lot of people.
The only
here,
time
yeah.
I ever hear them really is like at corners.
Set pieces.
Yeah, when like when the big
Yeah.
stoppages in play and
If
you get
there's a
some shine,
stoppage in play, yeah.
and then
Yeah.
my mind's all going. That's why I can't defend from set pieces.
I think-
Looking at the place.
I think when you play away too, like when the away team scores and there's like kind of that roar,
Mhm.
it's kind of like
Yeah.
damn, like we're down a goal or we just gave up a goal away. It's not good.
That is so true. Actually, that is one of the first times that you'll really feel the because when your team scores, you're so happy as well.
Yeah.
I feel like I even block out the noise. It's when the away team
Yeah, away
scores,
team
or if you're playing away and they score. It's so sobering. It's crazy.
But the best is when you score away
And it's quite
and
quiet.
it's just so quiet and it's just
Yeah.
your whole
I
team
guess
celebrating.
There's not actually many fans, away fans.
Nah,
in
there's none.
MLS
There's none.
at all.
Nah.
It's too
It's
hard.
too
It's
hard.
too hard.
Yeah.
I mean, New York Red Bulls. For
Shout out
instance,
Rebels fans though. They make the trip sometimes. We have a nice little section every now and then. We have a couple fans that come to
Such a
as
big
many away
commitment.
games, which is a big commitment. Like, travel in the MLS is
So Red Bull's biggest rivals would be New York City FC. It's a 45-minute drive. Their other would probably be Philadelphia Union, 2 hours by car. DC United, 4 hours. Like it's so far.
our biggest rival. Or I probably after NYC is our next guest is on that team for sure.
Damn.
Damn.
We have a heated rivalry with those guys. I don't
Yeah,
know
but
if he
it's
feels.
not.
I don't
It's
know.
not a club. That might be more of a
Yeah, you
team
would-
rivalry.
Yeah, team rivalry.
Yeah,
team
yeah.
rivalry. Sorry,
Oh, so
sorry.
the Red Bulls players.
Oh,
Yeah.
we played him 5 times last year.
Oh damn, we're really giving away hints at this
Yeah.
point. Do you want to come reveal yourself?
Fit them off.
You see,
He's my
hey,
best friend.
Hey, it doesn't even leave the pitch, does it?
No.
So going into this season, how's it been for you so far?
Yeah, like going into the season, like it couldn't have started better. Like I said, like my first year was kind of like a learning, and like it's crazy how big of a difference you can be in your second year. It's kind of like back to my Duke. Like my first year, I was not great. I was all right. Like I was still learning stuff. So much was going on, and then my second year, I came in, and I was good. Same here. Like I actually went through 3 coaches basically. I've already been through 3 coaches. I've only been pro for like I want to say like 13, 14 months, and like it's crazy, But we had a new guy come in. And like just I had more confidence, more belief. Had like a really strong preseason. And like talking about like changing positions and stuff, like I was able to like, I had like a good enough preseason that the gaffer thought like I had to be on the pitch. So you know, he was willing to put me in different positions. So I played attacking mid, you know, at the start of the year. I wouldn't say I was my best position, but I actually started. We had 8 games this year. I started all of them, which is like obviously like a very good start. And I was, you know, contributing. I felt like we were top of the East, which was awesome, and we're still doing great right now. But yeah, we were flying, and I was flying. I had a couple, especially when I, you know, went back into my position. Started playing really well, and then obviously got unlucky, just like a freak accident in a game, and you know, battling right now injuries and stuff. You know how it is. I've heard you guys talk about it so many times. Like, there's never a good time for an injury. But just dealing with that now and like making steps, just focusing on those steps. But my goal is definitely to be back end of the year. And you know, the U.S. playoff system is crazy. Like, we have a 3-game series, so like there's still so many games to be played this season, and I expect our team to be flying too. So definitely a lot to look forward to. Even though, you know, obviously it's a huge blow, but you know, hey, it's part of the game.
That's football, man. You said it yourself. It's never
crazy.
smooth sailing.
Never.
We've all been there with injuries, so.
Yeah.
But you're someone who's been through them before and come out the other side. Listen, you had a few injuries before I even met you, and you would never know. So I feel like that'll give you those experiences will give you the.
It's like clockwork now. Yeah, first like 2 weeks, like horrible, you know, down. Like, there's no other way around it. And then you just think, all right,
Time to go on with it.
yeah, just one day
Embrace it,
everything
innit?
just turns around. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're just like, all right, gotta.
And you have unbelievable care as well. I mean, you're doing so much.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Yeah,
you'll
shout
be
out our
fine.
physio, Zach Hogan. It's the best.
Bit
It's the
different to me,
best
isn't it?
physio.
Yeah, that's for another episode, I guess. But all right, Stroudy, I want to wrap it up with one final question. Who are the best players you played with and against? Actually, I want to go with and against as a professional and with and against as an academy player.
So 4 players.
Yeah, so 4 players.
I'll save the against pro last, because I know you guys. That's the big tee up thing.
Oh,
Yeah, we're
maybe.
looking
Yeah.
forward to that
That's what I'll be waiting for.
He's
baby.
probably going to be in the thumbnail, to be honest.
Yeah.
That's right.
Peter Stroud down
Not
there.
Stroudy.
You can put it. Yeah, you can put me. Yeah, you just put him there. Don't put me there, to be honest. But I think academy, like, easily Bukayo Osaka. Like, we played an Arsenal team. I'll never forget it. Like, it was the 23s game. It was like midweek, and they started throwing their team up and had like Mkhitaryan. They had, I think it was Eddie Nketiah was up top. They had Javier Amechi on the left. And then they had, he was sick. They had Saka, I forget. Whatever.
Is it
you
Joe
know who it
Willock
is.
earlier?
Joe Willock, yeah. They had all those guys. And who's the Coventry captain? Ben Shaif?
Ben Sheaf.
Yeah,
Ben
he was
Sheaf,
there. He
yeah.
was
What a
so
player.
good. Oh, he was
Yeah.
so good at that time.
Apparently he's getting bought for 10 mil this week.
Yeah,
Worth it
doesn't
for
surprise
sure.
me.
Yeah.
But that team, I remember they were tossing their team up, and I was like first year still. And I was just like, I just made the bench, you know. I was like, maybe I'll get on, whatever. And our captain at the time was like, it doesn't matter, you know, who they put up. Like, we have to go out there and play. And I was like, all right, like, yeah, I'd love to watch this. We got cooked. It was 3-0 in like the first, like, I want to say 25 minutes. But the thing about it was so foggy that day. Like, you couldn't see the pitch. And like, I remember like the first half soccer was just killing us, right? But then it got so foggy on the far side of the pitch that like you would see him get the ball and he'd just disappear into the fog. And then you just hear the post rattle like 4 times. You're like, okay, he's just smoking us out there. Like, no one could see what happened. But the game got called like at halftime, or not even at halftime, like 30 minutes in, and we were down 3-0. And this guy just absolutely destroyed our whole team.
Did they keep the result then?
No, I
Yeah.
think they replayed actually.
Having a replay.
But they didn't
all the
have any
teams
of
are
those
different.
guys. Yeah,
Yeah.
they didn't have any of those guys. No, for sure.
And you knew then that he was going to be.
Yeah, and I was like, who is, like, at that time I didn't really, he wasn't in the, I think he broke into the first team later that year.
Right.
And I was like, this kid is a joke. And he was my year because he was a young 2001, I think.
Yeah.
So he was a first year scholar at the time, and he was just ripping the 23s apart. And I was like, this kid is going to be so sick. So he was the best player I played against easily in the academy.
And then played with in academy?
In academy? Who did I play with that's like, I would say Grady Diangana, honestly.
Really? Yeah.
He's at West Brom. I think he's doing well. Obviously they did tough, you know, in playoffs, but like whenever I see him, he's the most down to earth guy. He's so cool. Yeah, he was so techie. He's like impossible to get the ball from. And like he would, like, it was weird. Like he was like, I think like 20, and like he would be like outside. You know, like you like laugh at people like doing scissors by themselves, like when they're younger. You know, like just doing scissors in the backyard. He was like doing that at like 20, and like he would do them in games, and they were perfect. So make sure you guys train at home, kids.
Yeah, kids. There you go.
Yeah.
He was the one that got bought for like 20 million.
Yeah, he did.
I did.
Mark Noble was at the time. Yeah.
Yeah, he
Didn't-
tweeted.
Yeah, he didn't like that. To be fair. Yeah.
I mean, you have to be some player for the club captain to
Yeah,
tweet
that's all the time.
against the club saying, how are we letting young kids like this go? That's mental.
I remember that.
But
actually.
he has
Yeah.
actually struggled a little bit since that, though.
Has he?
Yes, he has
Yeah.
struggled, and he's only really been in the Championship and bounced around. He got on loan to West Brom originally, and then now he's still there
It's on a
again.
perm,
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
All right, so now as a professional, I have a feeling I know
Are you
who-
going to ask the guest tomorrow this question?
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
that's
okay,
Oh,
good.
yeah,
I
we'll-
like
we'll
that.
get
I want to
him
hear
to
him
tell the
I want to hear
stories
him
as well.
put both different experiences against this person.
who you play the best you played with in pro football? So at the Red Bulls so far.
Oh, the Rebels? Oh, Forsberg.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, I don't know
When
why-
you didn't say it, then show well.
Yeah.
No, it's only one person.
Yeah.
Are you gonna get my boy Forsberg to watch this as well?
Yeah, I'll send him.
Tell him we wanted. Come on.
Yeah, please.
Could you imagine?
Tell him I was chatting to his boy yesterday at the game, and then we got talking. And he said, "Yeah, my boy's Forsberg." I went, "Damn, wow."
Yeah, no, but we were watching Forsberg in warm-ups, and it was just, he's so effortless. The way he's scoring every goal. Doesn't matter what the
It's
keeper
a
did.
joke. It doesn't make sense.
And
It
the way he
doesn't make
turns
sense.
as well, like on the half turn, it's
See, some of his touches in the first half yesterday.
It's like his glutes his feet.
What a joke.
Exactly.
yeah, it's just levels above it, and it was a good standard, and he's just so clear. It's so, and then you have to think as well, just how. Listen, he was a big player in Europe, but how good, like, well, someone we'll talk about in a minute,
Yeah.
but how good the Messis and Ronaldos are and
Yeah.
stuff like that as well.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's honestly ridiculous. Like he's still playing at a high level though. Like he still gets called in Sweden.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
and he played Champions League this calendar year, technically.
Yeah,
This calendar
100%.
season, you know. So he's still like, yeah, it's way better than.
It's great for the league as well, just to
Oh,
get
yeah.
players, because he's not old,
No,
and
he's not
he's still. You want these international stars to still be involved with their national
Yeah.
team, because it really gives them someone to strive for. You know, you could get some guys that come over maybe 35, 36. They don't want to play national team football. It doesn't matter anymore. It
Here
could be
for
a
the
paycheck.
lifestyle.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's great to see like someone like that doing so well. All right, now the question we've been dying to ask the whole pod: who is the best player you've played against in the MLS?
Ian Murphy. No, yeah, it's Messi by far. It's not. I don't even think. Yeah, it's Messi. Like that goal that he scored against us. It went viral, and like I was the one that obviously got sent like pretty badly. Like that's the only way I can really explain how good this guy is. Like I remember going up to that game. The coach told me, he's like, "Oh yeah, you're gonna come on like attacking mid." I was like, "Good." Like I don't want to have to defend him. And I came on attacking mid at half. Actually, I came on, and then Messi was on the bench for that game. And then Messi came on, and right when Messi came on, I of course get put back to holding mid, and I'm like, "Oh no!" I wasn't thinking that. I was like, "I'm gonna tackle him. I'm gonna tackle him." So I was always chasing this guy the whole game. I was just like, "I need to tackle him." I got him once, and then obviously there's like the goal. Which was like, I swear to God, like, first of all, Alba's touch as well was just so good. He like does like a bike perfectly right to Messi in our box. And like once he's in our box, I'm like, oh, like this is not great. And he cut back on me, and I was like, also like you have to factor in like you don't want to like foul this guy because like I've seen guys in the MLS foul him like accidentally, like pretty like aggressively, and like you look at these guys' social media and these Argentinian fans are like messaging this guy in the most brutal thing ever. So like there's that. Like you don't want to say that, but like you got to factor that in a little bit. Like you don't want to be like, you know.
Could you imagine?
I
Yeah.
didn't even take that into account.
Yeah,
so
you
I
have to
didn't even
Imagine
realize
being
that.
the one that keeps Messi out for a few months. Oh my
No, it's
God.
not. It's not a part of it. It's not even a question. But anyways, I was still trying to defend him on that play, and he had the ball and he was facing this way, and I had him, and there was like three of us there to be fair, and he passed the ball, and when he did the pass, I was like, oh, that's a rubbish. Like, who's that going to? But it was so good of a pass that the guy, he wasn't even running, but the guy was like, oh, that's for me. Just walked on to the pass, And then by the time we were all figuring out like where's that pass going, it was at that guy's foot, and he just walked in and tapped it in.
Because you all stopped, didn't you?
We all stopped. We all were like,
Everyone stopped,
"Where's that
yeah.
going? Oh, it's a goal."
And
Dang.
you squared it back to Messi.
Yeah, and I remember that video went viral everywhere, and I really did not. I mean, I didn't care, to be honest. I was like, I played against Messi.
Yeah.
I was like, and of course, like I said, I got moved to holding mid, and I was trying to tackle him so much. I really wanted to tackle him like cleanly as well. And I got him, but there were so many pictures of me chasing him. I probably got like the most pictures of that game of me just chasing the guy. So that's
Have you got the picture framed of you tackling him? Is
yeah.
that
One of my dad's coworkers actually framed it and gave it to him. It's hanging in my room.
No
It's
way.
like it's mental. Like I remember after the game, I got cooked for the goal. Like I did not. It was horrible. But I remember I was in the car, I was just smiling. I was like, oh my, look at all these pictures. This is the best thing ever. It was crazy.
Did
It was such good.
you try and get a shirt after the game?
No, it's impossible. It's
Really?
impossible. It's like the game. That's another thing. The game becomes a spectacle. You know, it's like not actually like a league game. Like we sold out that game. There's more pink shirts in our home stadium. Like security like is doubled up. Like you have to get like checked and
Was it
everything.
that guy?
Yeah,
walking
we
on
saw the security. Yeah, the guy. He comes out right after the game. Like he's right on the pitch, and like it's like impossible. It's impossible. You know, like you shake his hand, but like it's impossible to get to him. And he's a big commodity too for America and MLS. So like there's always cameras trying to get interviews and stuff. So
He probably doesn't speak the best English as well. If you're trying to like.
did you see the
For
clip
Bad
of-
Boys.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to ask you. Can Messi speak English? Did you get a chance to see him after?
He doesn't speak English. I don't
You
think.
don't think he speaks English?
Well, what about that game where Inter Miami came to Red Bulls? It was a sellout again, and then he has to pull out with a hamstring injury.
Yeah, I played in
People-
that game out. Yeah, that was.
You guys battered them, right?
Yeah, we won 4-0 when
Yeah.
he didn't play.
When he didn't play?
Yeah.
No way.
Busquets and them played, but that's another funny story because we played them in the worst weather ever, like freezing rain, and Suarez and Alba, like you shake hands before the game.
Yeah.
They were so cold. They were like screaming. They're like like they were just so mad. They just wanted to go like somewhere nice and warm.
Really?
You could tell. And yeah, when the game was over, they sprinted right back into the change room and they were ready to go. Like
Really?
poor like Suarez too. Like he has no knees already, and he's playing in like March with freezing rain in New York.
But
So
just wait till they get Colorado Rapids away in a
horrible.
snowstorm. You always see it because sometimes the MLS, because it starts in February or March, you'll get snowstorms, and
Yeah.
sometimes they play through them. Oh my, that'll be a rude awakening for the Inter Miami boys. That is not what they signed up for.
No chance.
It's horrible.
One more question, because I'm a big fan. In fact, we all love him. But Busquets, what was Busquets like?
And obviously you wear number 5.
Yeah.
Especially that first time we played him as well, like the game Messi. You can't get near the guy. I had like the worst game ever. Like I was playing 10 when Busquets was in, and then I got moved to holding mid when Messi was in. So like
Oh God.
I was technically like going against Busquets for the first part of the game, and then the second part of the game I'm going against Messi. So got sandwiched with that one, unfortunately. And yeah, he's a joke. Like he is just so good. You can't get close to him. Like by the time you're like say he's like where the camera is. By the time you get out to him, the ball is he's already played it around the corner, and like it's a perfect pass, like right to the front foot of Messi too. Like he's like he knows where Messi is like all the time. It's like okay, this guy is just a joke of a player too. They're just like on a different level.
Yeah,
crazy.
I mean, bro, they're not mortal. I swear. They're not.
Some of those European players are just like it makes it like when you watch the Euros, it's like it's coming up. Obviously, you're gonna watch the Euros and you're just like these guys.
Different level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think that's a good place to wrap up. I've really enjoyed this.
That
was
fun.
that
You know
was a
what?
good
Yeah,
ebb.
but-
It has been
That was
so
a good ebb.
So good
good
to have
episode.
American accents on here.
Yes,
Well, boys,
two
under pressure for tomorrow.
No pressure. No pressure.
Damn.
biggest rival in the world.
I'm not going anymore.
The biggest. That's my rivals going tomorrow, guys.
But no, P, I can't thank you enough for coming down. Yeah, I wish you all the best with the rehab.
Yeah, for
I know
sure,
you're gonna smash
definitely.
it. You'll be back this season and
For sure.
and back for those playoff rivalry matches with our guest tomorrow.
No, for sure. It's been like I said. You guys are exact same in person. It's been awesome meeting you guys. Big fan.
No.
Big fan.
Hey, I need a Stroudy
Yeah,
5 shirt.
we gotta
I'm,
send
bro,
some.
I'm not
That's
messing. I
looking
want
too
one.
Yeah.
cold up there.
I
I
want
actually need
one.
one. I'm not even joking.
Yeah,
gotta
my boy's
say,
too cold.
Get
with
some
it.
jerseys.
The summer fit's gonna look too cold.
Yeah. There you go.
Like, comment, like, subscribe. comment, share.
Hey, what he says.
Yeah.
Perfect.
You're
There
in
we go.
charge today, baby.
Let's
I
go.
guess that's it. And we'll catch you in the next one.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Peace.
Bye.